Afternoon.
Howdy.
Vanessa, how are you doing? Long time don't see you, Vanessa.
Still here.
Oh,
Hey, Richard, how you doing? Hey, Vanessa, or Veronica, actually.
Thank you.
Okay, let's
Hello.
try to get the names right, I guess. How's everybody doing?
Okay, back from lunch.
Good, good, very good.
Okay, everybody have a good lunchtime?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Charles, I couldn't make it this morning. I had 3 shots to get on my knees and hip. So
Oh, okay.
I'm ready to walk again.
All right. Well, as long as you're doing okay, that's
Yeah.
Okay.
all that really counts. Thank you for those seeds, by the way. I got those in the mail.
A small gift.
It's greatly appreciated. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to let everybody know, Richard sent me a package of seeds for Confederate roses. Okay. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, I have a plant already growing over in my yard. I had never seen them before. And then there's a huge bush over in one of my neighbor's yards. But it was really the first time I'd ever seen those flowers, and they're incredible looking plants. And I guess they're a member of the hibiscus family. Anyhow, Richard sent me a couple of, like a package of seeds, and then a little bit about how to grow them. So I won't be totally lost, and hopefully I won't kill them.
There was a program on those on WSB. They have a Saturday morning horticulture list, whatever. Anyway, they said that you cannot buy those. And if you see somebody that has them, you should ask them if you can have a clipping, because there's no way you can buy that plant anywhere.
Right.
Not this time of year. You can buy them in the springtime.
You can buy them in the spring? Okay. Well, I just got, I'd made an order online for some, they're like little plastic pods that you put around the branch, and you pack soil in them, put them around the branch, close them, tie them off so that they stay there. And what will happen is that off of that branch, you'll start sprouting roots, and then you can cut back behind it, and you've got a, basically a genetic duplicate of that plant. So that, you can do that with a lot of trees and things like that, evidently. So I was going to try that, but are we okay? Hello?
Hello?
Well, I'm okay, but I don't know who that was.
I don't either. Yeah.
That's my dog. He has
that's
a
your
heart
dog. Okay.
problem.
Oh,
Sorry. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that you could hear that.
yeah. Well, yeah, I was like, okay, is everybody okay?
Yeah, he's okay. He just coughed because of the problem.
Okay,
it sounded like a dog, but I didn't want to say that and it really be a person.
right. Yeah. Same here, it's like, okay. Anyhow, earlier this morning, Claudia, I think it was, had brought up an artist, mentioned his name. She'd seen a segment on him on Sunday morning. And I wanted to share some of his work, and then we're going to get into some of the things that you sent me over the lunch hour and before, okay? But since we're talking about inspirations and things, and we were talking about abstraction this morning, and somehow he came up. Now, I would not consider him by any means an abstract artist, okay? But I think he's got really, really interesting work. And his name is Titus Capper or something like that. Caper. Anyhow, let's take a look.
You're going to have to spell it.
Okay, I will. I can. I will be happy to do that. Let's see. Right here it is. Okay. And this is off the website. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of click through the page. And can everybody see?
Hello,
Can everybody,
Kapar.
yeah. Can everybody see this painting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
the two women. And
Yes.
he does some interesting things. And I'm kind of guessing, but I could be wrong because I'm not real sure. Okay. But it looks as though, or it would appear as though he's cut out part of the canvas or
Right.
part of the surface, and that you're seeing through to a layer below. Now, that could be the case, or it could be where he's actually painted that.
He's actually cut him out, Charles. That's what he discussed on the Sunday morning program.
Did he? Okay, yeah, I wasn't really sure, but it's an interesting idea, you know, that he's opening up that painted space and you kind of seeing through it or behind it, and that seems to be a kind of a normal part of his working process. And a lot of this is, you know, kind of historically contexted, and it's interesting stuff. Let's see. The two ladies here, you know, waiting for the bus. Again, you have sort of the negative, you know, cutout shapes for the children.
Yeah, that it's supposed to represent lost children in the African American community, and it's a series. It's about mothers and the loss of their children.
Okay. Now, when you say loss, are you talking about maybe children who have passed and died, or you know,
Died, murdered,
taken away?
anywhere that taken away from them, their children taken away from them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Because that could also deal with the criminal justice system too, and the removal
Right, exactly.
from, you know, a home. Yeah. Okay. All right. But you know, I mean, really, you know, striking images. You know, really beautifully painted, and you know, interesting concepts and ideas. But again, you know, he's taken a subject, and if you look at these paintings, they're sort of an amalgamation of representational art, graphic simplification, almost abstraction, and then, of course, you know, with the element of, you know, dealing with different levels and surfaces, where he's cut away so that, you know, you have this window, you know, showing behind the piece. So, you know, I also like, you know, his use of textures. You know, he'll do like, you know, and they're, I would say, I want to use the word random. They're not really as random as, you know, they're probably not what you would expect. Like, he'll put floral designs on people's clothing or on a wall or something like that. But he's always got this interplay between a variety of different patterns and textures going on in the painting. See, like the botanical or floral plant print on the roof of this house, right? You know, who's going to have their roof with, you know, a floral print on it? No one. But again, you know, so he's kind of flattening the space and sort of abstracting things. And then he's playing that, or we would say juxtaposing it against representational imagery that's kind of traditionally painted. You know, the palm trees, again, you know, kind of a graphic simplification. This house, again, kind of a graphic simplification. Same thing is true here. You know, you've got, you know, there's that floral pattern, you know, on the floor surface, and then, you know, the area that they're sitting on. You know, and here you have one child seems to be missing or cut out. And then again, you know, all the treatment back in the background, it's a suggestion of a room, you know, a suggestion that there's a chair back there, a doorway, something like that. But all the space is kind of flat, you know, it's almost, you know, a very contemporary kind of almost abstracted painting in that sense. And So I'm kind of taking it that this is a particular series that he's working on. I looked at some of his other work, you know, that tends to kind of deal with either religion or with history. You know, he had a lot of images of like George Washington and things. But interesting, you know, really interesting stuff. Now here he doesn't seem to have anything cut out, but it's like parts of her arm are kind of missing. It's like they've been erased or something like that. You know, you see an indication of where they were, but you know, they seem to be fading away or going away in for some reason. So, you know, since he was mentioned, I wanted to, you know, share a little bit of that with you guys and have you take a look.
Beautiful work.
Yeah, it is. You know, and again, you know, he's playing with all kinds of different techniques and ideas there, and really kind of pushing the boundary between something that's, you know, very traditional and very contemporary. So, and that's the thing, you know, it's like each and every one of us as an artist, you know, we've kind of got to find that balance in our work, you know, that would, you know, kind of tell somebody, you know, the time and the place that we were painting, you know, because what we're trying to represent is really, whether we're talking about historical things or not, it's from the context of here in this place and now, and giving the audience viewing your work some idea of where you were and the context in which you painted it is fairly important, because that you know, gives them some reference, you know, in looking at that piece. So anybody got any questions about that? Any other comments?
He works in large pieces.
Yeah, I think most of them are fairly good size. You know, I mean, they're not on the scale of somebody like Clifford Stills or Bo Bartlett or something like that that's doing, you know, 40 feet long paintings. But, you know, most of these pieces are good 6, 8, maybe, you know, 10 feet, you know, at the largest. I saw a lot of photographs of him, you know, around his pieces or while he was working on them. And yeah, he tends to generally work on a bigger scale, you know, than probably most of us work, for sure. But, you know, again, you know, I think he's painting these, from what I understand, he went to Brigham Young. He was a graduate of Brigham Young University. And so a lot of these paintings, I think, you know, he's painting in the context of trying to show them in an academic environment, you know, so he's showing them in museums from universities and things like that. And I don't know, you know, how much he's really trying to market, you know, to the public and things like that. I think it's all within kind of that academic context, but, you know, still really interesting work. All right, so we're gonna start talking about stuff that you guys sent in, and hopefully we have a few people here who we can talk about their work. Now, let's see. Bernice, are you around? She may not be here yet. I think she was asking. Pardon?
That's a rainbow piece you were working on.
Yeah, we saw that on, I think, Friday. You know, we talked about it briefly.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, she doesn't seem to be here. The thing we saw this drawing that she did, but we didn't see the reference that she took it from. And I guess that's her brother, I think is what she was saying, that she was doing a drawing of. And it's an interesting shot, you know, for the angle and everything else, but he's got a really striking kind of interesting face to draw. So maybe when she gets here, we'll talk about that a little bit. This is from Bob, okay? And I saw Bob here earlier.
Yes, I hear.
Yep, you're here. Okay.
I hear.
That's
Yeah.
a nice painting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I
Yeah.
like purple.
Now, Bob, you had done You had sent something in earlier, and it looked, if I remember it correctly, it looked like a watercolor or something like that. It was kind of, it was a lot softer than this.
No, it was oil. It was an oil paint that was just, I mean, I would just kind of put some, trying to get loose
Mm-hmm.
kind of a thing. And so this is a sequel kind of to that.
Okay.
Looseness.
Okay. All right. So I have only, I wouldn't call it a negative comment, but I have one comment about your technique here and approach. And,
Okay.
and I understand that, you've painted in the flowers and probably had, a fairly solid looking background back there and began to work layers of paint over it. But as you do that, be very careful not to leave these gaps, okay? But go ahead and take this texture and bring it really up to the edge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's real subtle, it's real faint, but even when you step away from it, it seems to make what I refer to as a halo around the piece. And it's where you just didn't paint in to the edge. And,
Okay.
if it happens, here or there, and it's kind of broken up, it doesn't really distract you. But when it's pretty consistent, all the way around the piece, you begin to wonder whether that was an intentional choice to do that, and try to create maybe a lighting effect or something like that, or whether it was just, you didn't go back and really push that paint up against the edge. Okay.
Okay.
And then we have your grouper. All right. And I guess I have a question about that. You seem to have this kind of large, darker, triangular shape here. And I guess my question is, why is that there?
Okay. Basically, a friend of my son's is an amateur underwater photographer.
Okay.
And he's taken some beautiful pictures of grouper and sharks and turtles. And so what he was diving on a shipwreck.
Mm-hmm.
And this dark background is the remains of the shipwreck that he was diving on. So, I mean, basically, this is just a prelim to an oil that'll probably come up in the future of this guy. So I'm just trying to get my values right, get my shapes right, and do this ahead of time. So when I do put it on canvas, it'll look sort of normal.
All right. Okay, so I have a comment about this as well then. This triangular shape seems to sort of mirror the shape of the fish itself. Okay. In other words, it seems to be a shape that's, intentionally put around the fish to make the fish come forward. Okay. And that's fine. It works in that sense. It does what you want it to do. The problem is that it kind of mirrors the shape too closely. And I would kind of encourage you to change this shape so that it doesn't really follow the angles and things of the fish.
Yeah, his photograph actually centers the fish right in the middle of this triangular shape. So I'm going to change the shape of the ship behind and make it a little more rusted out and beat up.
Yeah. Well, like for example, if you had shifted this shape over slightly, so the beak was kind of over here,
right,
and it kind of went in behind the fish, then it would have worked just as well. But you see, it kind of flattens things out in a way because it just kind of mirrors, the angles and the shape of the fish itself.
Okay.
And I wasn't really quite sure what you were after there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I agree with you. It does look like the fish is in a pyramid house or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be another thing, where he's actually kind of coming through an opening or something like that. But then I wouldn't expect to see his tail there, as he's coming through.
Right.
But, think about that. kind of do a couple of thumbnails, whatever, kind of work out the composition, and get some, more interesting shapes in there that kind of give you some contrast, but, don't kind of repeat. Okay.
Okay.
Some like corals in it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of things that you could do with it. Now this is Eloise, okay, and Eloise sent us some abstract art, okay, and she was saying that she, had done a fair amount of abstract art, and so I guess these are some of them. And Eloise, you want to tell us a little bit about these?
Well, first of all, did I get the caption right? I have had some issues about sending pictures because I didn't know how to do it. I put in a JPEG caption at the bottom. So I guess it came through okay, right? That's
It
what
did.
you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually sent an email to myself and then sent the email to you anyway to get that on there because my iPhone won't do it. But anyway, these are all acrylics and there are 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some I just kind of experimented with. This is a 5 foot square.
Oh, okay.
And it's just colors. I wanted something with greens and orange, red oranges in it. And the others are smaller. They, I think they're about 20. They're just studies of the different color combinations and all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how big did you say these were? Something by 20?
16, they're small.
Okay, so kind of a standard 16 by 20 canvas.
Yeah, I think I have them. I did these about 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the other, the white, this one may be 20 by 24. I can't.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The other one is 16 by 20.
Yeah, I want to ask you and kind of compare these 2 pieces a little bit. On this first piece, it's a fairly large piece, and that kind of maybe explains what I was going to ask. This seems a lot smoother and without a lot of the texture that you get in this piece right here.
Mhm.
And it seems like, you've maybe laid down some gesso or something here, because there's this really nice, rich, kind of granular surface that you're working on. And I like that. I like that a lot. Now, if this is a 20 by 24, you still really have a lot of nice texture and stuff in there. Even though this isn't like a big 5 by 5 piece, and I like that texture. I kind of like it, and I think it's a more interesting surface than just something that's real smooth and flat. Okay.
It's done on canvas, and I was going for the rough texture. I wanted it to look like it was rustic or old or something beaten up and just some paint put on it. So that's what I was going for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've got some really beautiful sort of transitions in color and surface there. And, that worked, really nicely for you.
Thank you.
So Eloise, I have a question. That the picture Charles just showed, yeah. What were you thinking about? Because when I look at it, I see spirits. I see a group of people walking away from something, going toward maybe a lighter area. I see, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So that's what I see. I see people in there walking away.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's really a beautiful piece.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't going for that, but I guess I can see that. I can kind of see that in there. But I was just studying, trying to make it look rustic and with several different colors in it. But that's something to think about. I had not realized that.
Yeah, the top is the heads and shoulders. The white part is the body, legs and feet, and they're walking toward a horizon. That's what I see.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then I guess I'm successful at doing that. Your pictures are supposed to communicate a message, right, to some people, to different people who view it.
Well,
I
you
get
could
that.
have another message. It could be a trees in a forest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of the way I read it as a landscape, and
Mm.
and see, that's the beautiful thing about doing something that's kind of abstract like this, is that different people are going to look at it and they're going to see different things.
That's right.
Because I think it's our nature to look at things and try to associate them with something that we're familiar with.
Right.
So yeah, but this is a beautiful piece. I really like the feel of it, and I don't know if Claudia is here or not. Let me see if she's around. Claudia, are you here? Let's see.
No, she's
Yeah.
not here.
Yeah, I don't see her. Yeah. Well, because she was saying earlier, how she doesn't really, she doesn't relate so much to abstract art. And I wanted to kind of ask her opinion about how she kind of viewed this, or did she see something in it or not. But we'll have to do that another time, maybe. Okay.
Charles,
Yes.
I see iris, some type of, not a hyacinth flower, but the iris.
Yeah.
That's-
Cool. Yeah, like
I-
the bearded
I
iris.
thought of that too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, they could be any of those things. They could be trees, they could be people. Yeah. Again, you can make them, really whatever you want it to.
You could see buildings too.
Could be. Yeah.
I mean, that's what to me abstract art is. Everybody sees something different. Whether the artist sees one thing and everybody else sees something else, or perhaps what the artist saw.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but good. That's something to think about.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to the idea of, the art being more powerful, more as a suggestion than trying to render and solve everything for the viewer. If you can give them just enough that they can begin to interpret it on their own, it becomes a much more powerful conversation, between the artist and them than if it's all spelled out. So that's something that I'm trying to learn in my old age, by the way. Okay. And struggling with, as well. So this is now this is a different kind of piece, Eloise. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Well, I just was experimenting with colors and with my brush, and I just called this Carnival. But now that I look at it, it could be an explosion of color, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's but I like it because it's got different bright colors in it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, when I look at that, it's a lot more active, than the other two pieces. The other two pieces seem a little more quiet, a little more peaceful and calm. This has got a lot of movement in it, and in fact, you could almost read it as something violent, like a collision or something like that. In looking at it,
And I see a screaming cuckoo bird.
You see a screaming cuckoo. There we go.
From the commercial, she could get some advertising money. It's a screaming cuckoo bird.
There you go.
That's his beak. All that blue is the beak.
I see a macaw in flight.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful tropical bird in flight.
Okay. So you see, you got all these interpretations again,
You see, Eloise, you were just putting color on paper.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
You
It's
can see
interesting.
goldfish in there too.
What did you say, Gene?
You can see goldfish in there too. On the
Oh,
left,
yeah.
fish heads.
Well, yeah.
And
but
yellow
no-
Yeah.
and orange going up through the blue is another fish right there.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it
Okay.
could be anything.
Yeah. Right. And see, that's kind of the beauty of doing kind of non-representational art.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's kind of human nature for us to look at something and try to associate it with something that we're familiar with. And,
Mhm.
in many ways, our interpretations of her pieces of art are more really kind of about us than the art.
Yeah.
So, kind of, it kind of reveals, who you are, as a
But
person.
do you have these hanging up in your home, or you just have them stashed away?
They're just stashed away.
Oh, wow. I wish I could break in your house.
Well, there's a different way of doing that, lady. It's what you do. You talk offline, you kind of negotiate with each other. Maybe you guys could do an art exchange, right?
Oh, maybe we could do an art show together.
That's
Maybe
right.
we could do that. Maybe
You could
we
do that.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking, that kind of reminds me, there was a lady here on Friday. Her name was Sharon, and she seemed to know you, Eloise. Do you know her?
I think that's Sharon that's here today.
Present. I'm present.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, there you are. Okay. I see your name down there finally. I tried to reach out to you with the email address that you provided with me,
Okay.
and it doesn't seem to work.
Okay.
It doesn't recognize it as an email.
Okay. So you want
So
me to send you?
So here's what I want you to do is I want you to send me an email. Okay.
Okay. Let me get a pencil. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll give you my email address that you can send it to.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready
That way-
whenever you are.
Yeah. That way maybe I can, get the link to it. It's
Well, I'm
Charles.
ready.
It's
Okay.
Charles, CHARLES
Okay.
dot
Okay.
Scoggins, SCOGINS
Okay.
at the at symbol, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Fulton, FULTON,
Okay.
County, COUNTY, all lowercase, by the way. Okay.
Okay.
GA
Okay.
.gov.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if you'll shoot me an email, then I'll try to respond to it because, yeah, I tried to send you a couple of different emails, and that email, it just didn't recognize it even as an email, and I just did a copy and paste from what you had sent me. So
Thank you.
I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but yeah, we'll get it worked out. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you for remembering.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. This is John. John has been working on Christmas imagery, obviously.
Caught in the loop.
We can
Well,
make
hey.
a Christmas card. with
Hey,
that.
hey, there's nothing wrong with it's the season. You're just getting an earlier start than most artists. It's usually like 2 or 3 days before Christmas that most artists encourage to them. Oh, maybe I should do a piece of Christmas art and send it out as a Christmas card. Yeah, a little bit too late for that. But okay, so tell us about this, John.
I was basically trying to work with perspective and vanishing points. That was my main objective, but the bridge and the fences and then the line to get the right angles
Mm-hmm.
that would work with vanishing points. That was my main objective, and I had like 3 different pitches: one of the building, one of the horse carriage sleigh, and then one of the bridge. So I just sort of incorporated the 3 of them to come up with this.
Okay. All right. And as far as the perspective and stuff like that goes, most of that works really well. Okay. Now I want to point out something to you, and you can agree or disagree. But what I want you to do is I want you to take your thumb, and everybody do this, and I want you to hold it up in front of the horse and the sleigh, and look at the painting without that.
Gorgeous.
Okay. And see, everything works really, really well. With that eliminated, and then you put that back in there. And what seems to be happening for me is that the scale or the size of the horse and the carriage or the sleigh in proportion to the fence behind it and the building seemed to be too small.
Yeah, I sort of, agree.
Yeah. Yeah, that it could be about 20 to 25% bigger.
Right.
And then it would feel kind of like it belongs in front of the fence, you know. Right now,
I agree.
because of the scale of it, it seems like it needs to be further
Right.
back, almost, you know, back there by the front door of the church. Okay.
Hmm. Correct. Yes, I would agree.
Okay. So, you know, there's just that, you know, one little thing, but you know, one little thing can be a big thing. So
That's it. Yep. I agree. I noticed that when I looked at it afterwards. You know, it's that going back the second time.
Mhm.
And I agree that that is a little too small. Needs a
Yeah.
shift measure.
yeah, now this is watercolor, is this correct?
Correct. Right.
Okay.
Wait a minute, let me,
Okay, Gene's talking to us. At any rate, if you took some water and wet that and just let it soak for a little bit and then took a paper towel and kind of pulled some of that out, you'd be probably able to go back in and scale that up a bit, repaint it,
Right. Right.
and a lot of it would sort of mush together anyway. And you'd lose, you know, that, but you could get the scale up and it would look
Right.
more appropriate. Okay.
Okay, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would, if I were going to grow this and make it bigger, you know, I wouldn't change the bottom of where the sleigh or the hooves on the horses are. I would grow it upward, you know, kind of go up this direction.
Right.
And
So he would make the people larger?
You want,
yeah, he would make everything bigger. So it would grow this direction and this direction. So it would end up being longer and
Oh.
taller. See?
how about the
That-
horse?
I was trying to achieve the perspective of the horse in front of the sleigh,
Uh-huh.
but as I said, it came out a little bit too small. But that was my objective, that the horse was going to be a little bigger than the sleigh because it would be more toward.
Right,
Toward-
like it's kind of moving towards you slightly.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and that seems to work, you know, because that hoof is actually lower in the picture plane than the rail of the sleigh. So that's fine. Okay.
And this is watercolors, you said, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful, John.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, but I would just kind of, you know, bring everything up.
Yeah.
John does nice landscapes.
You want the horse to be taller.
Well, the horse and the people and, you know, I mean,
Okay.
the proportion between
all have to be big.
the two of these are fine. It's just everything
The
has
fence.
to be blown up about 25%,
Okay, the fence.
you know,
Yeah.
and then it would kind of feel like it's in front of the fence and closer
Okay.
to us. Okay.
So Charles, if you actually change that, Charles, can you make sure you keep this picture and we can see the difference between the two? You know, if he changes it, you know, and sends you the change.
Updated. Mhm.
Yes, please keep this one so we can see, because I know for myself, that's my challenge with depth and scale. You know,
Right.
I can't get it. I don't see it.
Would
I mean,
would I achieve the same effect if I left the horse and sleigh the same and moved the fence back smaller?
No, because it'd be too small for the building.
Yeah, it's
in
yeah,
front of the building.
the size of this in comparison to, say, the height of the fence
Right.
and the size of the building.
It'd be easier to lift out and move the fence than to redo the whole horse and sleigh.
Well, okay, yeah.
The
You
difference
think
is,
that would that achieve the same idea?
So basically, yeah, you've got to make the fence a lot shorter.
Right.
Yeah. So probably,
the horse and the sleigh is so small in comparison to the church behind it, and the horse and the sleigh are supposed to be closer to you, which would enlarge it.
right. Yeah.
Making
Well,
the
that's-
fence smaller, meaning, I don't see that would help at all.
Well, if the fence were reduced in size, that would push the fence back. But then John, you have the problem of not only do you have to reduce the size of this fence, you also have to reduce the size of this fence too.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I would mess with the horse and the buggy
Okay.
more
Okay.
personally.
I think those figures would fit through the door though, Gene.
You know what you do? Just take a piece of paper and make the horse and the sleigh bigger and glue it on top of it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
That'd be
you could.
easiest.
Yeah, and actually, you could, well, and again, I don't know how much background you've got, like working with computers and Photoshop and stuff like that, but you could easily just take that and in Photoshop enlarge it,
Right.
and blend it right in. You would never know.
Correct. Right.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it, but that's,
But that doesn't change the original.
No, it doesn't change the original. Yeah, right. And then of course you got this Christmas tree, which I think is
Yeah.
lovely.
That's
you know?
nice.
Yeah,
That should be on a Christmas card. That's beautiful.
yeah, I think that would make a lovely Christmas card.
That one I whipped out during the break Friday. It took me about 45 minutes.
Wow.
And after seeing the video this morning, I would call this an abstract because I first sort of outlined the tree in pencil, and then I painted the whole thing with blotches of yellow. Then I went in with blotches of orange. Then I went over that with the blotches of green. Then I added the white. Then I added a few blotches of blue.
Okay. Yeah, but again, you can do some really nice paintings in a very short period of time. It doesn't, not everything takes hours and hours and hours of time.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But you have a really lovely effect, and this, with your brush strokes and things, this kind of feels like a fern tree. Just looking at some of the textures and things that you're getting throughout the tree. So you did a really nice job with that.
No,
And it's representational in a sense, but again, it's a simplification. And so it is, it's also abstract at the same time.
And you can really see how the forest behind it. I mean, it looks like the forest is so far away, and then the sky is behind it. I can see how it looks. I can see the depth of it, and it's really pretty, John.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Sure is. It's beautiful.
Yep. It's a nice piece.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on down the line here, we have Ilan Lindenboy. So he's doing his collage thing again, but this time he's using objects from nature. So Ilan, you want to talk to us about this one a little bit?
Is he there?
I don't know. I thought he was.
I don't see his name.
If that's real stuff, how do you preserve that?
Well, that would be a problem.
Yeah, because it won't stay on the glass even. It will eventually disintegrate.
Well, yes, or maybe no. What you
could
can
probably shellac it.
Well,
put a coating of shellac over it.
Well, you could do that, or you could do what they call a poured resin. So what you'd have to do is like put it within, kind of build a box, right? And then, put it in the bottom of that box and then pour clear resin in on top of it and let that harden. And then after it hardens, then you strip away the sides of the box, just leaving it sort of, embedded, in that resin. Another way of doing it is to use the acrylic clear gel medium, which it seems like that's what he probably did. But you could put a much heavier coating on it so that it's totally sealed and encased in that. and it would help preserve it for a while. Eventually, though, most of that organic material is going to break down.
Yeah.
But what I've generally done with things like that is I will use the gel medium, encase them, and then, you know, before they fade and stuff like that, I'll come back in with acrylic paint and I'll paint over those surfaces, trying to get something, you know, close in color, you know, to those shapes of the leaves. Of course, you can make them any color you want, really. But the nice thing about doing that is that as you encase them with that medium, the veins of the leaf and the texture and things come through that. And so they'll, you know, they'll kind of mirror that texture of the veining of the leaf and stuff. So
do you have to brush it on? You can't spray it on, that you're talking about the medium?
yeah. Well, you could either, you have your choices. You can either, again, pour it on, you know, and then kind of spread it around. Or you can use a brush. Now, if you're going to use a brush, you're going to have to build it up with several different layers. If you just pour it, again, you know, you're going to have some kind of sides or something on it to pour the medium into, and then you're going to have to give it time to harden. Then you can strip away, you know, the edges on it. Okay.
So is this done on a canvas or a piece of paper?
I'm guessing it's a piece of board, but it could be a canvas. I really don't know.
Is it better to do it on a board, or is it better to do it on canvas, or just a piece of paper?
Well, if I were gonna do something like this, I would probably do it on a piece of paper. And the reason I would do that is that then I could build some kind of shell or box, and then I could use resin, or I could use that acrylic gel medium and get it to a consistency where I could pour it in there and let it sit and harden and dry over you know, several days. And for something like this, if you poured that with the acrylic medium, it would take probably a week to 2 weeks to dry thoroughly. And the frustrating thing about using that gel medium, while it's still wet, it looks kind of white and kind of milky. As it dries and hardens, it will become totally clear. And you know, you just have to be patient with it. And with something like that, some people might want to try to rush the drying by trying to heat it up. I wouldn't do that. I would just let it cure out and dry all on its own. And you know, I think you'd get the best results without it clouding up or anything like that. So you know, you kind of got to think through the process of how you're going to treat it. The other thing is, you know, if you built the form for that to fit down into, then you would probably pour some in the bottom so that you can seal the back, then put the paper in, then pour the rest in over it. Okay.
Charles, you did mention because it's organic material, it's going to deteriorate. But how long does a leaf last in your gutter if you don't clean it out? Forever. Pretty
well,
life.
in the gutter, not all that long. It will last, you know, like through most of the winter season. But when spring rolls around,
you're right. The gutter is wet.
Apart. Yeah.
But you know, leaves last on the Florida forest for forever.
Well, you can find them in springtime, but usually by mid to late spring, most of them have broken down and become mulch, you know, or well on their way to becoming mulch. But you know, with something like this, if you took it and put it in resin and or that, you know, clear acrylic, it would seal it and stop air from getting to it, and it would make it last a lot longer. I mean, it might last, you know, 5-6 years, you know, and still retain, you know, a fair amount of the color. You know,
Awfully distracting.
You know, before it totally goes away.
Or you can just consider it a seasonal bouquet.
That's true.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really
not
wanna
every,
get
yeah, not everything is necessarily meant to last forever.
Yeah, I
but,
think that's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do, for
Yeah.
nature. Now, he could send it to Russia. They've evidently found a way of almost permanently preserving it. They've got, they've got linen, on display for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, he's been embalmed in some way that he's not deteriorating. How they did that, I don't know. But okay. And that gets me into a whole nother thing, which is the bodies exhibit and stuff, which I used to be a docent for. But that's a whole nother discussion. So, yeah, okay. Anyway, Jacqueline sent these in, and I don't know whether she's gotten back here today or not. I told her.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay! Okay. So, Jacqueline, tell us a little bit about these, please.
These are, I guess, preachers bringing a coffin back from up north back to the south after the people have migrated north.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have come, our bodies are shipped back home or brought back home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To the south. Now, the clouds, I've learned how to make clouds since then.
Okay.
I get to see it. And so my clouds, I get to see how it, what I needed to do as far as my clouds is concerned.
Yeah.
Now, and the box, I can do the wood better now. I've watched you and other people do wood. So I believe I'd like to do this one over.
Okay.
After you use your imagination, look at the cloud and see if there's a face to the left and the hands look like they're over the heart. It looks like a ghostly body above the casket.
Oh.
Yeah.
That?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it looks like, a body kind of laying in a casket. You're kind of looking at it in profile.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to work on that. I like to compare it to this one.
Charles, I think your abstract video is really working.
Yeah, so, okay.
I see you laughing, John.
Yeah, people are seeing.
No, I was just laughing at the interpretation of seeing the body through the wood.
Well, floating above the casket there.
Right.
Floating over the casket.
Yeah. That's what I was laughing. Not at your work, Jackie. Not at the work.
Yeah.
Actually, I sort of like it. It's got a. What would you call that, Charles? Almost primitive.
Yeah, we when I showed this before, one of the things that I mentioned was that her particular approach and style to painting, remind me a lot of what they call outsider art, which is kind of a branch off of what you'd call modern primitive. But, but it's very simplified. It's very graphic. You've got a nice design going on there. Everything's not horizontal and lined up. And, it's a nice design, and your eye moves around in it very nicely the way it is. Now, yes, you could improve it, by, the way that you handle the paint and maybe actually getting more paint on the surface. It seems like it could have used more paint, particularly in the sky and the background area.
Right, in this area, yeah.
Yeah, but, again, that's something that you pick up over time as you become more comfortable working with the medium. But the general concept of it and the overall layout and design of it is really nicely done. It's a very striking piece.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think I'll make the coffin bit a little longer.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
The original and just do another one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I wouldn't.
This one.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that she go back in and paint over this. I would kind of encourage her to do a whole new piece. You know, and let this piece be what it is, because it's kind of when you were starting out much earlier, and it kind of gives you an idea of, you know, how your skills are improving over time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then, now, how long ago did you paint this piece? If I may.
2019, last year.
Yeah, so not that long ago. Okay.
Yeah, I did it at the center.
Okay. All right. And then you've got this piece. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did this piece, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah. And then now you did this one in the one previous in 2019. When did you do this piece?
After I did that one. It was late 2019 for this one.
Uh-huh. Okay. And just looking at the two, you know, your confidence in mixing color and the way that you're laying down the paint and stuff like that, you're a lot more confident about it in this piece than you were in the previous piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, you've kind of retained that kind of simplified, almost kind of primitive look to the work, you know, which is really nice. I mean, there's nothing, I don't mean to make that sound, you know, as a negative in any way. It's just a style. It's an approach or a style. Okay. But I like the way that you've treated everything, you know, with the outline and the figures, you know, against the sort of more graphic, flatter color, and all of the figures and things are really nicely done. So, and in particular, I like how you've solved the problem of, you know, the black coat, you know, with, you know, putting in the outline in a light color to make the outline, you know, and the arm and things stand out. No, that was a nice solution for that. Now it's not a solution that somebody would take if they were trying to do a representational, quote unquote, you know, realistic painting. But, you know, for something that's graphic and sort of, you know, outsider art or primitive, you know, that would be a perfectly good solution, you know, or somebody who's wanting to treat it, you know, more what we would call graphically. And, you know, from what I've, and I haven't seen a lot of your work, you know, Jacqueline, but I've, you know, just the two pieces I'm looking at, you know, you tend to kind of move in that direction. And that's something that I would encourage you not to necessarily want to have to change. Okay.
Say that again. What is it?
I wouldn't. Yeah. Well, it's called outsider art, or, you know, what we would call contemporary primitive.
I'll write that down.
Yeah. Or a more graphic style, if you will, if you had to describe it.
Yeah,
But-
I like the lower figures a lot better than the ones up top. The lower figures to me, that's just so beautiful.
Yeah, they seem to be kind of the focal point,
Yeah.
you know, of the painting. And
I would have stopped and not put the, you know, the figures up on top of them. I know it's supposed to be a hill or something.
yeah, I actually kind of like the figures being on the top, but I like the fact that she's treated them differently, and the ones on the bottom in scale and also in the way she treated them feel closer to us and more finished. You know.
It really gives the impression of the migration of a long train of people trudging through that field and around and up and down. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I like the piece a lot. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's a wonderful piece of artwork. And so, you know, Jacqueline, I guess what I'm telling you here is, you know, yeah, don't, you know, I mean, improve, you know, your ability to mix color and stuff like that. You know, you don't necessarily have to try to make your work look like everybody else's. Okay.
Okay. I have one question.
Sure.
Shadows. Now that I'm learning about shadows, could I have put shadows in here?
Well, you could have. Okay. And okay, I guess what I would say to you about that is, yeah, you could put shadows in there, but in doing so, then it would take sort of that graphic quality away from it and make it look like you were trying to be actually more realistic or representational, and it might actually work against you
Okay.
to try to do that. There's a beauty in the simplicity of this, and yeah, and sometimes in trying to make your work look like other people's and make it maybe more realistic, you can lose some of the qualities that you've naturally kind of innately got in your work already. And there's plenty of people out there doing photographic, real representational artwork. You don't have to do that. You can do something that's uniquely your own. And you seem to have an already sort of very clear direction and style that you're working in. And again, I would be very careful about trying to change that too much. Okay?
Okay.
My idea of working with students is, and my goal has always been, I don't want you to necessarily teach you to paint like me. Okay? I want to show you how, the techniques and how to mix color and things like that. But the idea at the end of the day is, you need to find out how you paint, and what your work really looks like, for you. Okay. And it may not, it may not be photographic realism. Okay. It may not be portraiture. It may not be totally abstract. It may not be a lot of, but whatever feels right to you, perfect the craft, that you have, and try to stay true to who you are, and try not to look like a lot of other people. Because there's something, beautiful just in your work the way it is. Okay.
Okay.
That's what distinguishes you from everybody else, is your stylist.
Right.
Doing that, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. You've got two, really strong concepts and ideas there. And yeah, you could improve on things like how you apply the paint and getting more paint down there, and how you maybe manipulate and mix colors and things like that. But beyond that, don't try to totally change it, to be something that,
I'm doing a color chart now to put on the wall. So yeah, I'm learning more about the colors, blending the colors and stuff.
Okay.
Jacqueline, how long did it take you to paint this piece? It's a beautiful piece.
I think probably about, cause I did it at the center, so I guess I did it in 3 sittings. Short sittings.
Okay.
Very
So
nice.
you were doing about a 2-hour class?
Yeah, about an hour and a half, 2-hour class.
Yeah. Okay.
And what was your reference, or did you? For the
Well,
painting?
I like Lawrence. What did I say his name was? I looked it up last time. Now I forgot. My memory's so bad. But Lawrence, forgot his name, his first name. But it's from the Migration series. I like his art. I like the way he paints. I like his art. So that's where I got it from.
Okay.
The Migration series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Well, so here's an idea for you. Okay.
Okay.
Try to stay with sort of the feel and the style that you've done the other 2 pieces in, but try to do something that's, not taken off of somebody else's work,
Right.
to come up with your own ideas, something a little more personal, maybe something about your family or your history or where you've been or where you come from, things like that.
Okay, I'm working on that now. Something something I made, and my granddaughter gave me some flowers this past week, and I put it in one of my vases, so I'm doing that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Something that I made myself.
Okay. All right.
I took a picture of it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I look forward to seeing it. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's move on down the line. We got Gene Goldstein, right? So Gene, this is a landscape. Now, did you say this was acrylic or is this oil or what?
Well,
What
that's
is this?
acrylic. I can't do oils anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's acrylic. Okay. Let me blow this up a little bit. Now this is on a canvas, right?
It's on a canvas board. I think it's 11 by 14.
Okay. All right. And again, this is, if you look at how the color works, in this piece, you've got these kind of brighter, richer colors here to the foreground,
Right.
and then you move back into the dock and, this area in here where the water's a little bit closer to you. The only thing I'd say is, even though this is in shadow, you could probably get the intensity of the color up more here in the foreground. And then as it moves across, see, this is where I would let it go a little more muted, back in here.
Where's your cursor?
Pardon?
Where's the cursor? Well, you showing
Oh.
a cursor in that?
Well, it's back here by your horizon line, where the tree line. The water just below that is kind of an intense blue color, right?
Right.
So if that color came to the foreground up here, and you could maybe use some darker values of it, right? But kept the color more intense here.
Mm-hmm.
But back here, you grade the color down.
Right.
See, then that would push further back, and the water at the bottom would come more forward.
It looks like you have the same problem I did. That boat in the back looks a little.
Exactly what I was about to say. It looks like
Yeah,
the
if
boat
it's the
should be
pier.
bigger.
Yeah, the scale of
It
it.
looks like a toy boat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say
Very
too.
small. It's a very small motorboat.
Yeah.
But it looks off. It looks off.
Well,
Like it should be further away
Mhm.
or bigger.
Well, it's coming in. It's
I
coming.
agree.
It's coming into the dock or
Yeah.
going away from it.
No.
What's
in.
coming into it, but yeah. Okay. Now, when you're looking at the painting, right, and we're talking about the picture plane, if this were further away, right, if you drew a horizontal line straight across it, you see it's almost at the same level as the dock, right?
Right.
And one of two things have to happen, right? And I would say, okay, you could probably get away with the boat being that size, but what you would have to do is you'd have to make that dock back here
Mm-hmm.
much smaller so that it felt like it was further away.
Gotcha.
Because right now, the size of this dock and the size of this one, if you look at the width, they're pretty similar.
Yeah. Needs
Yeah.
to be smaller.
Yeah.
So-
So when I say smaller, that doesn't necessarily mean shorter. That just means that
Oh,
you have
thinner.
yeah, thinner. All right. And then that dock would feel further away, and then that boat maybe wouldn't feel quite so small.
So Gene, you're saying the boat is coming toward the dock and not
Correct.
away from it?
That's
Yeah.
correct. The bow, the front of the boat is.
Yeah, about right here.
That's right.
That's the front?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the pointy end was the front.
That is a point in.
This is the pointy end, but it's not, you're not looking at it from the side. You're looking at it kind of 3/4.
Yeah.
Does that make
Mm.
sense?
No. It,
Okay.
from the way I see it,
Uh-huh.
it's, and I don't know, maybe because the picture is so small, looking at it, the part that you're saying is the front, the bow, it looks to me flat, and the other side looks pointy.
hmm
So that's
But-
why I thought the boat was going away from the dock.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is kind of the back of the boat.
Yeah.
This is the front of the boat. And, because here's where, the people driving the boat would be what they call the superstructure. It's the part that sticks up above.
Right.
Yeah. So they're standing in there, kind of moving in this direction, kind of 3/4.
Okay.
Really needs to be
So.
half that size.
Yeah. But yeah, again, you know, I mean,
That back dock needs to be half that size.
yeah,
Way too big.
yeah, probably, you know, if you're looking at the width of this, it doesn't need to be any wider than about right here, you know,
Yeah.
from here down.
Yeah, it's
And
not-
that's the whole dock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that would, again, kind of make it more in scale with that boat.
And if I did that, what did you say now to do to the background behind the boat?
Just gray down the water back here.
Okay, great.
So it's not quite so intense,
Okay.
you know, because you got some very strong blue, you know, back in there. And if you want to make that feel like it's going away from you, you know, it probably should be more like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that strong blue can go up here in the foreground closer to us, you know, where the water is coming close to the shoreline.
All right.
And again, you know, that,
You didn't put too much bright in the greenery because that was just to block your eyes from going off.
okay, that's fine. But again, you know, you have a lot of intense color up here.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that the water,
Would be lighter back there. Absolutely.
not lighter, but more intense in
Yeah.
color here as well. Because again, it's closer to you.
Right. I need to switch that and put that more in the gray, like behind the dock that's too big. Gray it down that blue.
Yeah, yeah. It can still be blue, but it's a very new.
Yeah, it's got to be grayed down a lot.
Yeah.
And so if she,
I think that the dock is the issue because even if it's the foreground boat, the rowboat, it looks like it's jammed in between the two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Big boat. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But and the size of that boat, I'm okay with. You know, the thing I kind of, when I'm looking at this, the thing that bothers me is the relationship of the size of this dock
Yes.
to this dock.
Would you
So-
knock it off so that, like he said, the boat looked jammed? Would you take off that the width of the dock from the back side or the front side?
I take it off from the backside.
That's what I was thinking, to make it look further back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just kind of narrow it, you know.
Yeah.
So you're taking all this away. This is becoming water
Right.
back there. Okay.
Right.
And then it would kind of feel more in scale.
Right.
And you know, there are boats that the front end
Yeah.
turn up more like that. So that doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just more the
No,
scale.
you know, something bothered me and I never have figured it out, so I just left it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But yeah, so those are my critical comments.
Absolutely, yeah. I see that. Yeah.
All right. So let's see, John, I'm going to show your still life. Okay. And so this is a still life that John did, and it's you know, some pumpkins and leaves and
Squash.
are these, yeah, are these grapes or berries or what are they?
They're a berry, like a cranberry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
A little out of proportion, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know, and I mean, this is, again, you know, it's kind of a seasonal thing. You know, when he did this.
Right, that was my Thanksgiving kick.
Yeah. Now he's on to Christmas, you know, but
Right.
he was doing Thanksgiving, so he did a bunch of squash pumpkins. And you know, again, you know, it's like the way that you lay down the color, you know, kind of moving around the form helped, you know, kind of give you the idea of the volume and the shape of these. So that was kind of nicely done. The thing I would say is you need, you know, more change in value, I think.
Mhm.
And that would help you make some of these things rounder. Like back in here, you know, this being as light as it is nice, you know, but as it transitions, it could get darker, and that stronger dark could meet up with this edge of this pumpkin, and that would push this back and let this come forward. Okay?
Right, okay.
You know,
And that would make it appear rounder?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
so
the
it-
orange one, it's there because it's darker going down and it
Right.
does. Yeah.
yeah. And see, it feels
Yeah.
like it has more volume,
Mm-hmm.
than this one, right?
Yeah.
And you've done it on these two pretty consistently, and then this one not quite so much.
All right.
But you had the right inclination. You began to get something darker. I just think that
Right.
you could have gotten as dark as that outline and lost that outline around there, and then it would really just kind of slip back behind there.
Right. Yeah, that would be, yes.
Okay.
And that's oil painting, John, or watercolor?
Oh, watercolor, yeah.
Yeah.
And how big is that?
That would be 10 by 14.
Wow. Another beautiful painting, John.
Yeah.
You are the seasonal artist.
Yeah, right.
Have a season, John can paint it.
Yeah, what's coming up next?
Okay. Well, yeah, we're gonna do this landscape. Evidently he's getting ready for cold weather.
Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, so I guess I'm going back to my roots.
Yeah. Yeah. And we kind of talked about this last week. And again, it works really nicely.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that he's kept the warmer color, like, really right around the houses and stuff. What we talked about though was if this is supposed to be more or less like a night or an evening sort of scene, I probably would have darkened down the sky more. And then these areas would have appeared to be lighter and they would have come forward more.
Right, okay.
Yeah, right now, the way that this image is, this going to almost a pure white,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of overpowering the light that you have in here. And you want to keep everybody looking right in this kind of triangle right here. And so I would kind of tone all that down.
Okay.
Darker. And I think if you push that darker, then all of this would move forward and, and your eye would stay where you really want it to be. Okay.
Okay, good.
So, and then we have your figure.
That one I struggle with. I'm not satisfied with it. I ordered some water-soluble graphite, and I'm going to try to redo this with the graphite.
Okay. Yeah, what we had talked about last week, I mean, you've handled, and you did two versions. I guess it's
right. Yeah, it's tried to correct it, and it came out.
Right. Yeah. So this is what it was originally, and you've lifted it out and gotten it lighter overall, and this is a great improvement over the first part of it.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Now, all I would suggest that you do, at this stage, John, is again, get a little more color in the skin. Don't do anything, to the cloth itself. Don't do anything to the background. And the way I would probably handle that is I would just take some red, and thin it way down, or maybe add just a little bit of orange to it. And again, thin it way down and just wash over all of these skin tone areas to warm the temperature of it up.
Okay.
And I think you would be okay. It would warm it up enough that it would make it feel like skin.
But she could have vitiligo.
She could have what?
Vitiligo. I have it.
I have no idea what that is.
Right, you have to know what it's a skin condition. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like so-called Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it on the left arm, on her left arm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a new one on me. I kind of read that as being in shadow, but it can be in shadow and can still be a color and kind of feel like a flesh tone. This is so neutral; it's almost like it's a gray in the background. So, and so all I'm trying to do is get him to push a little more warm color in there, and it will unify those skin tones and make them feel like one side's in light, one side's in shadow. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is a piece that June did, and I see her here. So this is a self-portrait, right, June?
Yes,
Yeah.
from mirror.
From a mirror, right? Yeah. She was saying that she was trying to paint this from a mirror, and how many of you have tried to do that?
Nope.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, yeah.
that's very brave of her.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Brave.
Yeah. Let me tell you that in my personal experience, that's not easy to do.
I know.
Yeah. You know, it's hard enough painting a model, you know, that you're actually looking at all the time. But you know, when you're trying to paint and you're looking back and forth at a mirror, you know, that's really difficult because every time that you bring your head back, you don't necessarily bring it back to the same place. And that's kind of what happened here. Is she lined up the center line of her face, you know, kind of over here, and her eyes and everything kind of are sitting on her face like her face is turned a little more 3/4. So yeah, so they don't quite match up yet, but she's working on that. So
Yeah.
so we'll see where this ends up at. And I don't know which direction she's going to go. I don't know whether she's going to scoot her nose over and
She
really
just
put
said
it
she
over
was
here.
gonna try the 3/4, I think, position.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's kind of what she had said. You know, we'll see how that ends up. But yeah,
Wouldn't it be easy if you took a selfie and painted from a selfie?
it could be, or had somebody take a picture of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, and it's a good, you know, it's a good exercise to try to paint from life and paint from a mirrored image if you're going to do a self-portrait. The advantage of doing something like that is that you can see color much better, you know, painting from your reflection in the mirror than you can from a photograph. Because a photograph is so limited in the way it treats color, it really doesn't come out anything like what you really look like. You know, depending on the lighting and things like that. But you know, from direct observation, you can see a lot of subtleties, you know, and particularly changes in temperature in your skin tones that you cannot see in a photograph. And that's even like, you know, the best possible photographs that you can take. They're still very, very limited in what they can reproduce. You know, and it's like 1/10 of what the eye can see. So, you know.
Other than the proportion, I think the coloring is very good. And shit.
Yeah, I think, yeah, overall the skin tones are pretty good. She could get more color, you know, in her skin tones. But yeah, the only real problem, and it's not even the proportions, it's kind of where things are in relationship to each other. If her nose had moved over to here, you know, then it would have been kind of in the right place, right? And then her mouth would have fallen under it. Then her whole face would have been turned slightly 3/4, and it would have worked out. But that's the problem, you know, with looking back and forth in the mirror, you know.
But the chin and the neck are just perfect to me.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
neck and the chin is just perfect to me. I
Yeah.
don't mean proportion. I just mean just a good job. And
Uh-huh.
under the nose, the upper lip under the nose. I like the smirks.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're too far to the right.
Okay.
They got to just move to the left a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
she
Yeah.
she would have had it, you know, worked out. And then she did this landscape, and you know, I've looked at this landscape a couple of times now, and you know, the more I look at it, the more and more I see in it, and you know, I like what you did with it. You know, you got a nice sense of depth, you know, in the painting, and this definitely all comes forward. And the only comment I made about it last week when we looked at it briefly was that your the lines for the crops in the field, you've got them too lined up, you know, like they're moving straight up and down rather than moving back in perspective. And so it's, if I were going to do anything to this, you know, I would just repaint this area right in here and get them to feel like they're moving toward me, you know, or, you know, in a pattern that, you know, kind of feels like this is closer to me and that this edge is further away in some way. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
I try to correct.
Yeah, then we're gonna show some of the ladies' work here. So, lady, let's see, if I remember correctly, this is one of these bolts that fabric came on. And,
Yes.
And now you're gonna keep this as a kind of a sculptural piece, right?
Yeah, it's sitting on something. The black bucket at the bottom
Mhm.
is actually a Halloween bucket where kids collect candy in.
Mhm.
And it's filled with cement and has a PVC pipe in the center of it.
Okay, and then this bolt of
It-
that the fabric came on slips
just-
inside that PVC pipe.
Yeah, so the pipe and the bucket is acting as my easel
Mm-hmm. Okay.
for painting the rest of that. I haven't done anything else to it. It looks exactly the same. Like I was telling Robert this morning, I've hit a block and I'm just stuck right now.
Okay.
Well, you said you were going to use your wallpaper and make patterns up and down it, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's the intention.
Yeah.
And I have two more of them. They're I got the suggestion from Pinterest, where they have these beautiful wood carvings and posts to put out in your yard or hang on your wall.
Mhm.
And when I'm finished, I'm going to put this one and the other two right in that same corner, but not in the bucket. And they're just going to lean there against the wall.
Okay.
It's, the other two are going to be completely bright colors, yellow, red, blue, purple, everything. And I'm going to put wallpaper on that also, pieces of wallpaper collage. But again, I've hit a roadblock.
If you feel like doing construction work, you could take some of it and make a major tree trunk with limbs coming out.
Yeah, that would be a interesting thing to do. I thought about that too, Gene.
Okay. And then you got these two pieces. Now this is your
Brother.
brother. Okay, yeah, he's your brother, and then the lady is your sister-in-law, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And again, you know, you can see these are, you know, the fabric bolts that she picks up and she uses as a base for a lot of the paintings and things that she does. And I guess my question is, you've got the faces, you know, kind of enlarged and roughly placed. What are you thinking about for the backgrounds?
Well, again, both of these are for my brother and my sister-in-law have their own office spaces at home. And it's for their office, and it's going to be with their fraternity and their sorority. My sister-in-law is a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and my brother is a member of Omega Psi Phi. So the color of his background is going to be purple and gold, and hers is going to be red and white. And it's going to have symbols and information and history of their fraternities and sororities. I've done more to my brothers, but I've gotten into a roadblock because it's going to be a collage, and I don't want to use other people's artwork. And you know, in collage work, a lot of times they use magazines, and I don't want to do that. I'm trying to draw and do my own artwork.
Just the board is the artwork, right? The black on each side, that's not part of it, correct?
No,
Say
no.
that again, John?
It's just the board. The black on either side is not part of it, correct?
No. The board on that's my table.
Just the board, right?
Yeah, just the board and the picture.
Right. Okay.
Everything is going to be on the khaki color board. Yeah.
And you're gonna have her overlapping like that then.
Depending on your wallpaper swatches, but you could use a variance of colors and do your own artwork on the swatches.
Yeah, again, sticking, the challenge is going to be sticking to the theme, the color scheme. Again, purple and gold for my brother. I can get I have lots of gold wallpaper, but not lots of purple wallpaper. In red and white is simple. That's easy to
But
do.
you can take a paper and paint your own purple.
Yeah.
Like you did anyway.
Yeah.
You could, yeah.
Or you can take the feathers from your picture there and on your Mardi Gras.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. Yeah, she would have to disassemble her mask.
Right.
All
But
right.
again, like I said, I'm at a roadblock and I'm stuck.
Yeah. Well, you know,
You know
I mean,
what? You could use beads on it. Oh, I can see glass and beads, the sorority colors.
Mhm.
It would be really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing you could do is, you know, I guess, you know, you could go to Morris Brown or Spellman or, you know, go to one of the shops, you know, like the bookstores or things like that, and see if they have any paraphernalia for those particular fraternities.
Oh, it's not a lack of getting stuff. Trust me, I got lots of stuff.
You got lots of stuff? Okay.
I had to tell my brother, stop sending me stuff. I'm not putting all that stuff on there.
Oh,
You
okay.
know? So it's just I just can't put all the stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have all the ingredients for the cake, but I can't put it together.
Okay. Well, probably the only thing I can tell you is,
Trial and error.
well, yeah, you know, start just loosely laying stuff down, you know, and, you know, you could start by actually taking the bolt and deciding, you know, is this going to be a red background or is this going to be a purple background or a yellow background or whatever, and go ahead and paint, you know, just start, you know, getting it the color and then start, you know, moving the objects around on it to kind of work out the composition.
Yeah.
You know, until you begin to come up with something that, you know, begins to feel right for you. So, you know, that might unstick you, you know. Yeah, the best way to get unstuck is try to do something, you know. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, then that's fine. You can always walk away and come back, you know, tomorrow, you know, and try it again.
Yeah, so I've taken it, I put it to the side, I moved it out of my eyesight, you know, and hopefully, you know, something will inspire me to go back to them.
Okay.
But,
well, we'll ask again, you know, we'll keep checking.
thank you so much.
Yeah, we won't leave you alone about it, you know.
We have your best intentions at heart.
I know you do. I know. I get all my inspiration from art from you guys. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So we got a couple pieces by Naomi. She sent in quite a bit of stuff, actually. She's been doing some dogs. So this is like an Australian Shepherd. I think she said it was a neighbor. Naomi, are you here? Yes.
I'm here.
Okay, I see you. Okay, and then who is this dog?
It's just the dog.
Okay, that's the generic dog. He's a generic sad dog.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So question. All right. You're beginning to take and move your subject matter, you know, off and on the page. You know, you're beginning to crop it differently. Is there a reason for that?
No, just a little something different.
Okay, just experiment.
Right.
All right, I can buy that. All right, looking here at her elephant. Okay, now that one's a little more centered in the page. And we kind of talked about this on Friday. You know, I like where he's going, and I like a lot of the color and stuff that you've used, and you know, the fact that it's kind of more random sort of color. Again, I want you to think more about not just the color, but the value. And, you know, this can all be blue, but does it all have to be kind of the same blue, or could it get darker?
Oh,
as
okay.
blues,
I was
you know?
thinking of it as a design,
Uh-huh.
more like a design.
Okay. But even if it is a design and it's on the surface of an elephant, would it not get darker as it, you know, moves away from the light?
Okay. I'll try that.
Yeah, just a thought. And that would give him a little more volume and form. And you got a very soft looking horse there. You know, the horses and dogs are looking kind of sad. How
I
come?
don't know. All my things come out sad looking. My portraits come out sad too.
No, not all of them. In fact, I've got some here that don't look so sad. But yeah, your animals. Well, this guy looks pretty happy, you know. But you know, the other three, yeah, you know.
You know, I was looking at a makeup class, and it's the way the eyes go that makes them look happier and younger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, young animal, and happy. It's the way the eye, you take the paint and go up with the eyes, up and back. It'll make them look happier.
Okay, kind of like they're smiling.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then this one, you're not finished with it, are you?
You know, I didn't take a second look, but I see the background. I have a problem on the horizon there. I didn't finish that.
Yeah, because it seems like the village keeps going back here. You know,
Right. I didn't finish that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, if you
Vineyard somewhere, you know, the houses like in Spain or.
yeah, definitely kind of Mediterranean feeling. Yeah, but yeah, if you finished off the houses back here, you know, and then brought some of that color back here somewhere, then it would kind of complete it and make it where you've got a middle ground and a background and a foreground. Okay. And then we have your.
Oh, that was from last week.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, a lot of these you sent me on Friday. So, yeah, you were doing some landscapes, you know, which turned out pretty well, you know.
Thank you. They're very tiny.
Yeah.
They're like 4x6 kind of paintings.
Yeah. And then we saw her, and yeah, she looks a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Okay, she does. Now
that I just did.
Yeah. Now she looks a little intense.
She looks pensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, you know, you're pushing the color a little bit more here, and that's good. You know, I mean, you're headed the right direction with it. This girl, you know, again, it's lining up those features. You know, you got this mouth kind of sitting way over to the side.
The chin bothers me now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's basically the lip is moved too far over. It needs to be further back where it falls. You know, maybe the corner of the mouth needs to be about right here, and the corner of that mouth or the mouth on that side kind of needs to end about right here. So you've kind of moved it to the left, and it needs to come back to the right a little bit, and that way it will sit under the nose. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then you don't have an outline on the face here, you know.
Right. I did that on purpose.
I was guessing you did, but and I like that, you know.
That's pretty.
It looks a little close. Let's see. Let's go the other way. Let's pull back on it. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He was a graphic designer. It was back in the 80s. He did a whole series of like women's faces, and they were just real simple kind of graphic shapes. But you know, he didn't give you any detail. It was really just the eyebrows, the eye, a slight indication of like the bottom of the nose and the nostrils, and then the lips. And you just kind of filled the rest of it in on your own. And that kind of reminds me of his work. I wish I could remember his name, but my brain doesn't go that far back, unfortunately, these days. And then you've got her in the red hat. And she doesn't look sad, you know. She looks like she's got, you know, something on her mind. She's figuring something out. The thing is, again, you know, it's trying to get your features to align. And again, you know, this mouth doesn't really seem to fall, you know, quite in the right place. It needs to go, you know, slightly to the right. Now on her, you seem to kind of get everything in the right place. Okay. Yeah. And, you know, she seems to have kind of a nice, you know, pleasant expression on her face. You know, she looks happy. Maybe a little quizzical, you know. But again, you know, all of the features and things line up, you know, much better on this one. Okay. Again, you know, the alignment on this one seems to be, you know, pretty good. And, you know, as far as the actual flesh area of the face, everything's working pretty well in there. It's kind of out in here. I'm not quite sure what's happening with her hair. And she's got this patch of what appears to be part of the background, you know, coming into her hair. I just kind of want to see more of the shape of her head. And so I would probably make it, you know, the dark of the hair in there. But then again, I don't know what you were looking at. What were you looking at when you did these?
I was copying it from another painting, but I see my problem is I have to do it and then look at it 2 or 3 more times, because now I see what you see, but when I'm doing it, I don't see it.
Right. Yeah, because you're caught up in the process of
Right. I
doing it.
see I have to not hurry it and just leave it and look at it again. That's my big problem.
Yeah. So here's a way around that big problem. Okay.
I know you turn it upside down.
Yeah, turn it upside down. Look
I
at it.
can't do that. I've seen you do that all the time. I can't do that. What works for me is I have to leave it and look at it another day. That's it.
Okay. Well,
And I didn't do that with these.
Yeah, you could do that too. But, you know, if you want something a little more immediate, you know, again, looking at it in the mirror, looking at it upside down, and then obviously turn your reference upside down as you're looking at it.
But see, now I see what you're seeing, and I didn't see it before. Yeah. But it's good that you're pointing this out and I'm looking at it again.
Yeah, and then, you know, this one, I like this one a lot for some reason.
Well, we did that abstract today. This to me is as abstract as I want to do it. I don't like it when it's just a big blob of color. I like that you could look at it and maybe figure out something's there.
Okay. But yeah, I kind of like the arrangement of the colors and stuff. And there's something about the expression of her face. She seems, you know, I mean, it's not a happy expression. It's certainly not a sad expression either. But you know, it's kind of an expressive face, and the color, the way kind of the color kind of melds together, and it's warmer on one side, cooler on another, seems to work really well. So
I'm going to do that again.
Okay.
I don't like the eyes on the right. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, this one seems to be shut for some reason.
Yeah, I'm going to do that again.
Too much eyebrow.
Yeah, the eyebrows. Yeah, I'm too much in a hurry.
Top eyelash.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and then you've got this piece, and again, yeah, it's kind of something about the eyes that are not quite lining up.
Right. I see it now. I
Yeah.
see it.
Now, the nice thing is you've got the center line of the face lining up.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about
Gotta work on
this eye. And it'd
Mm.
be easy to fix. It's
Yeah.
kind of like this corner just needs to come up to about right there.
Yeah.
And then
I
they would
see it.
be in line with each other.
Naomi, how many paintings do you do a week?
I do a lot because I sit there and I have music taped and everything, and I just a lot. But you see, I'm not being careful enough. I have to put it aside and then look at it again. That's my problem.
How big are most of these pictures?
Very small, like maybe the most 5x7, the most.
So is it on paper or on canvas?
It's on watercolor paper, and these are all watercolor.
And so you kind of like sit at your table, or you?
I'm sitting on an easy chair,
Okay,
and I
and you-
have a board that I put on my lap,
Mhm.
and that's how I do it. But as I said, in a couple weeks, when I can't go outside, I'm going to move down to my basement and do my acrylic. That is another world.
Yeah.
And so you really can crank them out, honey.
Well, the thing is, by looking at it now, I'm looking at it with different eyes, and I'm
Right.
seeing how careless I am. I have
It's not careless. It's just, you saw it differently.
No, I have to look at it again.
Right. You just saw it
That's what my
differently.
problem is. Yeah.
Well, Naomi, now that you told me how you're doing these, another thing I might want to point out to you, and I think I've mentioned this to you as well.
They need to be up.
Yeah, you may be laying them flat down on your lap.
Yes.
So that's why you're getting it distorted. If you pull
Oh.
the board up more, you would get
Oh.
less distortion.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll try that.
Yeah. So try to keep your board angled up a bit,
Mm.
and you'd be able to see them a little more clearly. Okay.
Question.
Yeah, you can really tell by looking at this one that she does.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, because you had it laid down, this probably looked bigger, when it was laying down, and then the forehead didn't look so big. But now that it's looking at it flat,
Yeah, I'm going to do
the
that.
forehead got pretty big. And that hairline could maybe go down to about right there.
Yeah.
I bought a desk easel.
Yeah.
Trying to get used to it, but do you have an easel?
I have loads of stuff. But this is my easy way. I'm going to go down in my basement studio in a couple of weeks and
More
do
options.
my acrylic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take your waters with you.
Yeah.
No, I want to do my acrylic.
Well, yeah, but you can treat your acrylic like watercolor as well.
Yeah.
Customer service.
Yeah, but again, I think, just working on an easel or having your board elevated will solve a lot of those issues.
Yeah.
Now,
Somebody told me once that if you work flat, you need to draw like cylinders around to make it fit the egg shape face. When you work flat, it goes straight across. But if you draw you a cylinder like a perspective ellipse, how the face it would go around, it would not be flat.
well, yeah, only if you then take and mark in, the kind of oval shape following, the egg shape that you have.
Yeah, that's what just draw it lightly in pencil, and then you can, when you fit it in there, it won't look like it's flat. That's what somebody told me when I was doing that flat stuff too.
But even with that, if you're working flat on a board and you're laying those, those ellipses in, you can still get them kind of distorted, because you are laying flat. If you angle your board up, then you'll be able to see it a little clearly. Somebody's got something going on in the background there.
Somebody's got music or something.
Right. Yeah. And then there's this piece, which I really like the mood of.
Yeah.
It's
Very
kind
nice.
of a nice feeling. Again, it's a little distorted down here to the bottom, And again, it's just like that, the corner of that mouth could kind of come over to about right there. So it falls in line, and this could be a little bit shorter. So the mouth needs to go a little to the right on it. Okay. Again, you know, it's kind of soft, you know, again, you know, nice feel to it though. And then we have Richard and his kangaroo. Yeah, we talked about Richard and his kangaroo a little bit. And his, I guess, you know, this is part of an ongoing conversation that he's having with his granddaughter, who I think he said lived in like New York or something like that. And she's getting ready to go to college. And so they're talking about the college and things she would go to. So this is kind of, you know, Havana University in Arkansas is a made up university. But anyway.
Great piece.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, that one was from last week. We looked at Bo Bartlett's studio. And what I was pointing out is the fact that, you know, many of you, when you start off doing a painting, you know, your approach is, all right, I got this canvas and I'm going to do this finished painting. And that's not the way that most professional artists work. Most professional artists work by doing a whole series of studies, you know, and thumbnails and a lot of preliminary work, pardon me, you know, before they ever get to, you know, doing, you know, like a large finished painting. And the fact is that, you know, doing a lot of these little paintings like this will solve a lot of the issues for you, give you a chance to work out a lot of those things before you commit yourself, you know, to taking the time to really paint something that's really much larger. And so when you really look at this, you know, these may take 2 or 3 hours a piece to do, but they'll save him, you know, 15 or 20 hours in the final painting, because he would have already worked out, you know, a lot of the issues, and he doesn't have to work it out here now. Okay. So that's kind of the value of doing stuff like that. This is from Susan Adair. Is she here?
You can't see it.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of one of the problems. When she shot this, they're very dark. She's got a couple of pieces, that one and then this drawing. And there was something about the lighting on it, you know, but it's like extremely dark. And maybe it was extremely light, you know, when she started off. Is that?
She's here.
Oh, yeah, there she is. Okay, I see her. Yeah, she's waving. Let's
on mute.
Yeah. Okay.
I took them in a very light room, so I don't know why they're so dark.
I don't either. Yeah.
I'll try to do this again, send them to you again.
Okay. Now, if you're gonna photograph them, again, you know, I would find somewhere maybe outside, you know, like on a back porch or something like that, where the light's not real direct, but it's just sort of diffused, which is pretty easy on a day like today. You know, the only thing you have to worry about today is keeping them dry. Okay.
Okay.
But you know, shooting them outdoors, your light will be a lot more even, and you won't have to deal with that. Did you take these with your phone or?
Yeah, I took them with my phone and I sent them to you on my email on my phone.
Okay.
Maybe it's my phone. Maybe it's going.
I don't know. You know, they're really kind of dark, and I don't know why. But then again, you know, Veronica's pieces are kind of dark too. So.
Okay. I mean, it was a very lit room when I took the pictures. So, and I hung them on the wall, and I took them. So. Yeah.
Huh.
That's so
I wonder,
weird.
What kind of phone do you have?
LG.
Okay. Do they have different settings on there for like different kinds of?
Maybe didn't have it on bright enough. Maybe I better look at the brightness on the phone.
Well, that or maybe, you know, maybe it has a setting on there to do like a vignette or something like that.
Okay.
because it looks something like that, because you know, just the center is lit up and then it kind of goes off into these dark corners. So maybe
Okay.
it's just something in your photo settings that needs to be, you know, reset.
Okay. I'll try to figure it out.
Okay. All right. And then Veronica, are you here? Hello, Veronica, are you here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can. There you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So yeah, you sent these two pieces, and you're kind of playing with Alonzo tricks. You know, you're doing a collage piece here.
A little bit. I wanted to see how it would go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I really enjoying collage. I guess I have to do it more often.
Okay. What are you thinking of it so far, though?
Well, so far, I would like to make it more mixed media with paint instead of I use colored pencils.
Okay.
I think I like painting better.
Yeah. And do you have you paint in oil at home, right?
Yeah,
Do you have any acrylic?
I do.
Okay. Well, yeah, what you could do is, even at this stage, you could go back in and you could use some of the acrylic, you know, to add more color and kind of soften, you know, one thing into another. You know, so this has a lot of possibilities even at this point. I guess now, is this on canvas?
No, it's on Bristol board.
On a Bristol board, okay. Well, again, you know, Bristol board will take paint really well. It's kind of meant to be painted on and stuff. So, you know, so again, yeah, you've still got lots of possibilities of, you know, adding more color into some of those background areas if you want, or, you know, or expanding your images, you know, by bringing some of the color texture pattern, you know, into some of the rest of, you know, the composition. So yeah, just keep playing with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like here at your, you know, where the boats are,
Yeah.
you know, like you could, you know, you don't have to end it right there. I know your probably your reference ended, but see, you could keep going and just fade that off rather than have it stop, you know, at a hard edge. You know, all of this up in here works fairly well because it's fairly soft.
Right.
And you could soften, you know, the edge of the paper right there by bringing just a little bit of color over it. The same thing here with your hummingbird, you know, just bring a little color in there. And then it would just kind of disappear, you know, the fact that you had an edge where you know, cut that out. And it can, you know, incorporate the image into, you know, into the design, you know, more completely. Then you've got this piece.
Yeah. My Road of Love.
Your Road of Love? Okay. Yeah, we've all been on that road before. Yeah.
Well, I hope so. You know,
Yeah.
I think when I started this, it's still unrest, but it was significantly high unrest and, you know, protesting. And I was like, yeah, love is on the outside of the road. Let's get it back on the inside of the road together.
Okay. All right. Can I make a suggestion with this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Normally, you know, a pictorial construct that we generally work from, if you start at the top of the canvas, it's going to be further away from you as you move lower in the canvas.
Okay.
It's going to get closer to you, right?
Oh, so the heart should be bigger?
Exactly. And so should the road. See, the road should
Okay.
get a little wider as it comes forward.
Okay.
And that, again, you know, that will give you that sense of depth, right? Rather than just being kind of a flat pattern, it will give you the illusion of space in there.
Okay.
Okay. Just a thought. And, you know, the thing I would I would kind of encourage you to do is, I understand, that the hearts are kind of off the road back here and kind of more random. I wouldn't make them too uniform here, though.
Okay.
Again, you can play with where they are, and they can be at different points along the road. But, just because the point of it is on the road doesn't mean that it has to stop at the edge. It can actually break over the edge of that line right there.
Okay.
And still be on the road. Okay.
Okay.
And it will make it visually more interesting, if they don't all just stop at that edge. Okay.
All right. I'll work on that.
Yeah. Play with it some more. All right. That's what we're all here for,
Yeah.
So they're trying to get you guys to play. Is Wanda here? Wanda, where are you? She was around. Maybe it was this morning when she was here.
Yeah, she was here this morning.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see her. Okay. Anyway, she's working on a couple things, and I wanted to talk to her about this. And we talked about it a little bit on Friday, I think. And this is something she did for her sister before she left somewhere. She was somewhere in Ohio, I think she said. And so this is mainly done in markers. And the story is kind of funny because I guess she had been there. She hadn't done any artwork for a while. And I guess just the day or so before she left, she got this urge that she just had to do something. So she got some markers and a piece of paper and kind of, got into this. This is actually a wig, I believe, or something.
Pom-poms.
Pom-poms, that's right. Pom-poms, right. Yeah, to make the hair. And then this is actually dough that she made, some kind of a paste to, put on there. And so it's somewhat three-dimensional, in those areas. And she was real limited with her colors and things like that. But, it's a nice piece. Unfortunately, it's in Ohio. She didn't bring it with her, so she can't work on it some more. But, she did this again for her sister. And for Little Sis is kind of what she titled it. It's a nice piece. There's nice elements of, treating things kind of graphically and sort of flat, and then other areas where she took the time to begin to sort of model and render a little bit. And so that worked out pretty well. Now she's got a photograph of some leaves here, and then she's got a photograph of a landscape. And I don't know whether they relate to each other or not. And I won't know because she's not here to tell us. So, but maybe we'll find out on like Wednesday or something like that. But that's all I've got. Anybody got anything? It's it's 4:03. We've been here for 2 hours. Anybody got anything else they need to say, talk about, go over, questions you need to ask?
No, earlier you mentioned a challenge.
Well, yes, earlier this morning, right. And my challenge is, whether you think that you really like abstract or not, I would kind of encourage you to look at different abstract artists. And the thing I would ask is, find an abstract painting that you like, right? Or that, appeals to you in some way, and then figure out why, and then send me an email with that image and why you like it, what it is that you like about it. And, the second part of the challenge is, try to play around with that, try to create your own abstract piece of art, not copying that, but trying to incorporate some of the things you like into it. Okay. And it doesn't have to be big. It could just be like a tiny little piece, playing with color, shape, pattern, texture, whatever that is. Okay. But that's going to require that you take a little bit of time to look at some abstract art, which will be good for you. And number two, you know, if you see something that you like, really to sit down and think about it and figure out what it is that you like about it. Okay?
That'll be easy for me.
Be easy for you? Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I love abstract.
Yeah, somebody was saying this morning, you know, and in fact, I think it was Jackie right there. You know, she was saying, you know, I started doing it. It's not all that easy.
Not that easy.
No,
That's right. That was funny. That was hilarious.
Well, it is, but it's true too. You know,
It's true, yeah.
yeah, it's like you get into it and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, maybe this isn't as easy as I thought it would be. So, at any rate, we will be back here on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And we'll be talking about painting and painting techniques, things like that. We've been talking a lot about acrylics, and I'm going to try to introduce you to a couple of artists that work pretty much so exclusively in acrylic paint, and you know, let you look at their work. And I'll try to find a video or two so that you can kind of see the process. And no, they won't all be abstract artists. You know, I think there's an artist that does portraits in acrylic, and it's a little bit different approach. You know, it's a little bit different approach than painting in oil, because you don't have the luxury of, you know, letting everything dry. So you have to work kind of in layers and scumbling and different techniques to begin to create, you know, sort of these color gradations and things. So anyway, we'll look at that on Wednesday. And of course, Wednesday afternoon, if you've got more work to share and to look at, you know, then send it. And, you know, if you've done some more work, you know, between now and then on some of your pieces that you've already submitted, and you want to kind of show them again and tell us what you've done and what you've kind of discovered along the way, then obviously, you know, that's a good thing to send as well. Okay. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Anybody got any questions? Anything before we go away?
Nope.
No.
All righty. All right.
Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you on Wednesday.